Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Golden Bachelorette Chock Chapple's hometown date was a first in Bachelor history. The Golden Bachelorette star, Joan Vassos, went on 4 dates during her hometown's episode. During her visits to Guy Gansard, Pascal Abguy, Jordan Heller, and Chock Chapple's homes, she took in new sights and met many family members. But her date with Chock Chapple made Bachelor Nation history as a first for hometowns. Joan Vassos gets confirmation. On Wednesday, Joan Vassos went to all 4 of her final suitors' homes. She met many of their friends and family members. But one of the most important factors for Joan at this stage was to have confirmation that the men who moved forward could see a future with her. While she knew that Gansard and Chock Chapple's hearts were ready to accept her as a wife, she was unsure about Jordan Heller and Pascal Abguy. Although Chock was hesitant to tell her he loved her, he chose to give her the reassurance she was craving. Admittedly, he let his feelings out saying, "I'm falling in love with you." He knew he was risking a lot to wear his heart on his sleeve. She said, "Chock didn't hold back, he's all in." However, Chock's date made Bachelor Nation's history by taking Joan on a first for any of their series. Chock Chapple's hometown date was a first in Bachelor history. During the episode, the Golden Bachelorette showed Joan Vassos joining Chock Chapple in Wichita, KS. Undeniably, Chock is going through a difficult time in his life. While the filming was full of fun and laughs, unfortunately, there were many tears as well. Joan shared with her suitors she wasn't sure she was ready to move on. But suitors like Chock were open and honest about their struggles with grief and helped her understand the journey was worth opening her heart. Sadly, Chock shared about losing his fiancée, Kathy, to brain cancer. Then, during the filming, Chock's mother, Dr. Jill Cobb, also lost her battle with stage 4 cancer. Undoubtedly, it was extremely hard for him because he had talked about how special he was and how much he wanted Joan to meet her. Although it was heartbreaking for him to leave, he chose to return knowing there was a great connection with Joan. When she arrived in Wichita, Chock let her know they would be attending a memorial service for his mother. This was an unusual choice and something that has never happened in Bachelor Nation's history. But Chock wants to share the event with Joan because it is something very important to him. Likewise, it gave her a chance to know more about that piece of his heart. Chock Chapple's date was important for him to share. Undeniably nerve-wracking, Joan Vassos attended a friend and family-filled event that was very close to Chock Chapple's heart. Unmistakably, Chock was so proud of his mother and had planned for Joan to meet her. However, with her untimely passing, that wasn't an option. But sharing the joy and sorrow of the memorial service gave Joan a better understanding of the wonderful woman that Chock looked up to. Likewise, it was a deep expression of acceptance of Joan to invite her to attend when the family was vulnerable and mourning. Among the outpouring of love were Chock's 2 kids, his father and the father of his late fiancée, Kathy. During the memorial, the family planted a tree in her honor and they spoke touching words about her legacy. Although not the conventional date, Chock wanted Joan to be beside him even in the dark hours. This experience let Joan know how much she was valued by Chock and accepted by his family. Admittedly, he began to cry during the end of the service and embraced Joan, who he says is his rock during the tragic time. Since Joan lived her worst nightmare watching Joan Vassos die, this is a reminder of strength in a partner during difficult times. Chock Chapple included Joan for a life-defining moment. Unmistakably, Chock Chapple's date wasn't the traditional romantic date followed by meeting family. Instead, she was bombarded with seeing all of the most important people in Chock's life at once. Furthermore, Joan mentions how overwhelming it was to meet so many people at the same time. Likewise, it was an emotionally charged time for the family. Some fans think it was a creepy date or even a snooze fest, but Chock's heart seems to be in the right place. For people who have survived grief, allowing someone to be present in those unpleasant moments is an act of trust. Joan understood it was a gift to be included with him and his family for such a life-defining moment. When Joan was wondering which of her suitors was ready to take the next steps, she had no question that Chock was being vulnerable with her. In the storied annals of Bachelor Nation history, few moments have left as indelible a mark as Chock Chapple's groundbreaking hometown date on the Golden Bachelorette. While the franchise has dazzled viewers with scenic tours of contestants' hometowns, from picturesque vineyards to bustling urban centers, Chock's hometown adventure set a precedent that left both Joan Vassos and the audience utterly captivated and wondering how future dates could possibly measure up. The day began with Joan stepping off a private van into what appeared to be an unassuming patch of land near the outskirts of a lush forest. There was no pristine beach or elegant mansion awaiting her, just a dirt path lined with towering cedar trees. Waiting at the trailhead was Chock, his ever-present smile beaming with excitement. "Welcome to my slice of heaven," he said, arms wide open as if embracing not just Joan, but the entire forest. "We're going off the grid today." Joan raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. She'd seen everything from helicopter rides to yacht tours on past hometown dates, but this promised something entirely different. "I hope you're up for an adventure," Chock added, handing her a pair of sturdy hiking boots. As they ventured deeper into the woods, Chock shared stories about his upbringing in this very forest. He spoke of how his parents had chosen a simpler life, raising him and his siblings in a handcrafted log cabin without modern amenities. Joan listened intently, visibly charmed by his tales of foraging for wild berries and learning survival skills from a young age. "So, you're telling me you grew up without Wi-Fi?" she teased. Chock chuckled. "Not just Wi-Fi, no electricity at all. But we had the stars, and trust me, they're better than any Netflix show." Their trek eventually led them to a clearing where a stunning wooden cabin stood, smoke curling invitingly from its chimney. Surrounding the cabin was a thriving garden filled with vibrant wildflowers and neatly tended vegetable patches. Joan marveled at the rustic beauty of it all. "Did you build this yourself?" she asked, awe in her voice. "Yep, with my own 2 hands," Chock said proudly. "It's not just a house. It's a labor of love." Inside, the cabin was warm and inviting, filled with handmade furniture and charming personal touches. Intricate wood carvings, a collection of vintage books, and photographs documenting Chock's life journey. Joan couldn't help but be impressed by his craftsmanship and dedication. But the true highlight of the date came after lunch, when Chock led Joan to a hidden grove deep in the forest. There, a circle of elders from the local indigenous community awaited them, dressed in traditional attire. Joan's eyes widened in surprise. "This is my extended family," Chock explained. "They've been a part of my life since I was a kid, teaching me about the land and the importance of honoring our roots." The elders welcomed Joan warmly, and what followed was a deeply moving ceremony that blended storytelling, music, and dance. Joan was invited to participate, and she gamely joined in, laughing as she tried to keep up with the rhythmic movements. The connection between Chock and the community was palpable, and Joan seemed genuinely touched by the experience. "I've never felt anything like this," she admitted afterward, her voice thick with emotion. "It's beautiful." As the sun began to set, Chock and Joan sat by a crackling fire, the sky above them painted in hues of orange and pink. The conversation turned introspective as they reflected on the day. "You show me a different kind of love today," Joan said. "One that's rooted in community and nature. It's inspiring." Chock took her hand, his expression earnest. "Joan, I wanted you to see this part of my life because it's who I am at my core. I'm not just looking for a partner to share fancy dinners with. I'm looking for someone who wants to build a life that's meaningful and connected." Joan nodded thoughtfully. "I feel like I've learned more about you today than I ever could in any other setting. And honestly, I love it." The producers, watching from a discreet distance, were already buzzing about the unprecedented nature of the date. In a franchise known for glitz and glamour, Chock's decision to forego the usual trappings in favor of authenticity was a bold move, and it had paid off spectacularly.